Chapter 1. The Archaeological Team. 30 years ago. The muddy road. The minibus struggled to move forward, shaking several young people inside, until they felt drained and drowsy. Suddenly, a sharp-faced, handsome young man abruptly opened his eyes. What the? Time travel? Suchi's lips twitched. He had been reading tomb raiding novels, and in the blink of an eye, he found himself here. This realization dawned on Suchi, who often indulged in online novels, as he quickly became aware of the fact that he had traveled through time. But where was this? Suchi looked at the unfamiliar surroundings before him, as well as the lively young people in the minibus. He didn't recognize any of them. However, judging by their attire, dressed in military uniforms, wearing liberation shoes, and carrying military green bags embroidered with the words "Serve the People," it seemed to be the 70s or 80s of the last century. Suchi quickly analyzed in his mind. What caught his eye the most was the military truck following the minibus. The large truck looked eerie. The entire carriage, including the front, was welded with iron plates, with ugly, coarse welding seams full of bubbles. It indicated that the welding process required extremely high precision. What on earth was going on? Just as Suchi was filled with doubts, a mechanical-like voice suddenly sounded in his mind.
Congratulations, host, for successfully traveling to the tomb robbing world. The system is randomly arranging the host's identity. Arrangement complete.
The world of tomb robbing. This was almost exactly what Suchi had expected, as he had always enjoyed reading tomb robbing novels, and was fascinated by their mysterious and thrilling nature. However, the scene before him seemed like nothing he had ever read in any tomb robbing novel.
Host's identity confirmed. Archaeology major, member of the Bain Funeral Escort Team.
Bain? Funeral Escort Team? Suchi was astonished. Could it be that this was the 1970s, when Chen Wenjin and the others escorted a mysterious coffin and tried to enter the Shang family ancient building? Was the cargo in that truck the ancestral dragon rudder? At the thought of this, Suchi couldn't help but take a sharp breath. Phew. Suchi breathed a sigh of relief, gradually calming down. It seemed that this was undoubtedly the Bain Funeral Escort Team. This burial escort was fraught with suspicion and would be a turning point for everything that followed. Even though Suchi, who had read the original tomb robbing novel several times, still had many questions about it. He never expected to have the chance to personally witness the strange funeral escort. Suchi couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. Good. This identity seems a bit ordinary. As if sensing Suchi's thoughts, the system unexpectedly sent another pleasant prompt.
Detected that the host's identity is ordinary. To compensate for the host's loss, a special compensation reward is issued. Would you like to accept it?
Hey, there's even a compensation reward. This system isn't bad. Suchi felt pleased, and just as he was about to inquire more in his mind, he heard a melodious female voice saying,
"Comrades, we've arrived. Get ready to disembark."
Suchi knew that the beautifully faced young woman speaking should be the leader of this archaeological team, Chen Wenjin. At this moment, he wasn't in a hurry to ask the system. Instead, he stood up and followed the others off the bus. Once off the bus, Suchi realized they were deep within the mountains. The vast and towering mountains stretched for hundreds of kilometers, forming a massive range. The forest covered an area of over 5 million acres, with the central portion being hundreds of thousands of acres of primitive virgin forest. The mountain peaks were rugged, the forest lush, and waterfalls and streams flowed. This place was called the 100,000 Mountains, rumored to be a mystical paradise where mortals gathered. A tall and slender young man spoke. He appeared refined and cultured, but exuded a seasoned and stable vibe. This should be Wu Sangxing. By this time, it was nearing dusk. Everyone looked at the mountains, each feeling their own emotions. In the past, seeing this kind of situation often meant they were about to venture deep into these rugged mountains to uncover some buried secrets. However, this time, their purpose was quite peculiar. A funeral escort. This feeling was strange, and they didn't know whether to feel disappointed or relieved. As they looked at the distant blue granite peaks and the dense forest, they couldn't help but feel a bit uneasy. As soon as the entire team appeared at the village entrance, it immediately drew the attention of almost all the villagers in the village, who gathered around chattering and pointing. The village of Banai at that time was extremely poor, almost isolated from the world. So the appearance of the research team made the villagers very curious, staring at them intently. Moreover, Judging by the villagers' expressions, they seemed unfriendly, with a somewhat cold and watchful look, as if they were looking at traders in old black and white movies. Fortunately, Chen Wenjun had made thorough preparations before coming. After scanning the onlookers, she raised her voice and asked,
Who's the liaison officer in the village?
Before long, a thin man among the villagers stood up and replied in a somewhat awkward Mandarin, I am. What? What are you here for?
We're archaeologists from the city. We're here to conduct archaeological surveys in the area. We hope you can cooperate.
Chen Wenjun said as he took out a government-issued document with a red seal. The man took it, carefully examined it for a while, and seemed to confirm that the document was genuine. His expression immediately changed, and he grinned. So you're from the provincial capital's archaeological team. I'm the village's liaison officer, Pai Gui. You can just call me Gui. Chen Wenjun nodded and didn't want to waste too much time here, so she went straight to the point.
Is there a suitable place in the village to set up camp?
Gui thought for a moment and nodded. Yes, but it's a bit far away. Hearing that the place was a bit far, Chen Wenjun secretly breathed a sigh of relief because what they were about to do required secrecy. So she waved his hand and said,
No problem. You lead the way, and we'll drive there.
Once again, the team got on the bus and headed to the place Gui had mentioned. Sitting down, Suichi temporarily set aside his thoughts and said in his mind, System, accept the compensation reward.
Compensation reward is being issued. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the bloodline of the true dragon. Would you like to merge?